And we'll also have a look at a very personal play called Suddenly, about the challenges and joys of suddenly becoming a caregiver for a dying relative or friend. We're going to take a short break here. When we come back, a play about life changing suddenly, dealing with death with laughter. If you or anyone you know has ever cared for an aging or dying parent, take note. Your work will be honored this weekend. Suddenly is a play that's going to run for 3 days at the Presentation House Theatre in North Vancouver. It's an exploration of what so many families face when loved ones need our care. Duncan McHugh has the story.
Ice cream? Well, why? No, well then I'll just go down to the store. No, it's not going to work.
It's a job many of us don't apply for, becoming a caregiver.
And you can stay here and you can watch the turkey.
And it's the subject of a one-man performance called Suddenly.
But I'm not just talking about age. I mean, Mr. Everready isn't able to, you know.
Whenever a loved one gets ill, it happens suddenly usually. So you suddenly become the caregiver. You suddenly become the attendee. Instead of the son, you now become the one who has a new role.
Is that hot?
Writer John McGie and comedian David C. Jones based the play on true stories of 13 different people thrust into caring for dying loved ones, but its genesis was their own lives.
Selma's story about being...
David remembers his mom Patricia as giddy, fun, a gossip. They had a falling out, though, until she got Lou Gehrig's disease and couldn't speak. She moved in with him for the last 6 months of her life.
I guess you could say it becomes a bit of a game. You go, okay, how will we solve this one now, you know? You can no longer hold your head up when you're eating. Call up the Lou Gehrig Society. Oh, we get a chin strap. That'll hold your head up so that we can feed you.
John moved back home for over a year to care for his father, Jack.
He did this nice slow fade to black over time.
Jack, he says, was a brilliant man, an X-ray technician, but as he faded away, John got to know him in a whole new way, as portrayed in the play.
My father and I never really talked about our penises. There was just this quiet understanding that we both had one. The first time I saw my father's, there was a tube down it.
I was cleaning parts of his body that I never would have thought I would even be seeing in my lifetime. And then, but when you're doing it, it's sort of like, well, yeah, this is what you do, right? But it's not exactly glamorous. It's not sexy.
So you have a loved one who's moving back home, caring for them, they can't be on their own.
This being a show, catheters and colostomy bags get a sexy treatment.
Hospital bed, a bath bench and handrail.
Still, at its heart, Suddenly tackles what many of us don't think about until it's upon us.
We're talking about feces, we're talking about vomit, we're talking about wrinkles and ugliness and, smells.
I say I never want to wish this on anyone, but I feel so immensely proud of what I went through and feel so strong. I went through a lot of therapy and he helped me figure that out. And I suddenly noticed that he wasn't swinging his arm.
Aging, dying, caring. It isn't funny, but it can be laughable.
If you have lots of
Duncan McHugh, CBC News, North Vancouver.